Hey y'all, Eric Adcock's Awkward Life. Today is Friday, January 23rd. And this is my attempt to record a podcast every day, 2026. You know, I was writing with a pencil today. I couldn't find a pen that I really liked, so I had a pencil there. I was writing with it. And it's just something about the sound of the pencil, that friction on the paper that just brought me back to memories of just drawing and doing homework at the table. And things like that. I hadn't written with a pencil in a while, and I've drawn some stuff, but as far as writing, it for some reason, it just brought back a lot of memories today. And I got to thinking about that. You know, when you're a kid, when you first start school, they give you some crayons, and crayons are like, you know, here they are, let's go after it, you know. And it's not like a perfect form, you know. Crayons are what they are. They're meant to be scribbled and broken, and with some kids meant to be eaten. I don't know if you had the kid in your kindergartner class that ate the crayons, but I did. Probably class president by the time we graduated. But anyway, crayons were what it was. You know, they're just what they were. And you saw, everyone knew that, hey, when you seen a crayon drawing, hey, this is a kid drawing that. You know, didn't take it too serious. And then you graduate into pencils when you get those big, thick, fat ones. And then you the number twos, you got to have the number two pencils. You got to have the number two pencils, you know. And those become, you know, but they had come with an eraser. You know, how many times have we erased, you know. We learned that. We learned, hey, write it down. If you make a mistake, erase it, you know, when we're young. Then we graduate, when you get older, to pens. And pens are permanent. It almost makes us feel like that, okay, we've gone from child stuff to semi-permanent, and now we're writing with pens, and that's it. That's just a permanent thing. And I never really wrote with a pencil after I got out of eighth, ninth grade. So we grow up and we feel like, well, this is permanent. The permanent stuff is there. And we find out when we get older that nothing is really permanent, you know. Friends aren't permanent, and, you know, if you're like me, your parents pass away, and parents aren't permanent. Jobs aren't permanent. Health situations aren't permanent. And you realize that it'd be so much better if we went back to pencil, you know, if we just went back to pencil. And pens don't erase well. You can try to. They had some erasable pens, but they didn't work very well. And the greatest thing about when you get into using pens, especially in school, you're handed this little jar called liquid paper. I don't know what it's called now. Maybe correction tape or whatever. But we thought, well, now we can learn something. We can make these corrections. We learn sometimes that, you know, the scars and things we have on our paper, it adds character. As my friend Chris says it, we're building a lot of character. The imperfections, they just add to the story, and the writing still matters. And maybe that's the real lesson that we're trying to learn. Life isn't about writing perfect, you know, or obtaining perfection. It's just about continuing to write. Even when the pencil breaks or the ink spills and the page gets messy, all we really have is faith to remind us that that's something important here. God isn't afraid of our mistakes. He's not surprised by them, and he's not done with us because of them. He's he's been correcting my pages for a long time. So whatever you do today, slow down. Pay attention to the small sounds that things bring in your life. Quiet reminders. The scratch of a pencil did that for me. Ask yourself, what part of the story still needs to be rewritten in my life? And as always, if this episode helped you any, please share it with somebody. And I hope to continue to do a podcast every day for the entire year of 2026. Because life isn't written in ink, y'all. It's written in pencil. And even if you do write some things in ink, we've got that correction tape to help us out. And I think that's the real lesson today that I learned. Yeah, that's what I did. Hey, y'all have a good one. Bye-bye.